that because my phone's out there.
Hi, I'm Holly Harris, host of Spinning the Blues on WUMB Saturday nights. But I'm here at Don Odells Legends for a very exciting evening. We're going to be interviewing members of the New Riders of the Purple Sage tonight and then hearing them play a little bit later. We're going to start off with the wonderful guitar player, Mickael Falzareno, who's been with the band for 10 years. So let's find out what he's been up to. We're talking about Mickael Falzareno's wonderful release, I Got Blues for You.
Right.
And did I say it right the first time?
I think the very first time you did.
I hope so.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a tough name. You know?
I
swear to God, next lifetime when I come back and changing my name to Smith, to Jones.
No, just Zarano. Zarano.
That's it.
Zarano. But Mickael Falzareno and Extended Family is this CD.
Right.
But I wanted to ask about other members of the band.
Yeah.
When they're doing their solo projects,
right.
What direction are they in? Are they in rock, blues, country?
We're all sort of under this, for lack of another term, jam band umbrella. Mm-hmm. And you know, within that genre, you can do whatever you want to do, really, because it's really not quite as defined as everybody thinks it is, or would like it to be, or not like it to be.
Yeah, right.
But so everybody just does their thing. You know, we're all songwriters. Johnny writes a lot of songs. I write songs. Ronnie writes songs. David writes songs. So you know, we're just musicians doing our thing.
Do you write songs? Do you get up every morning and say, I'm going to write, or does it come to you and you have a notebook to do it on? How does it work?
Well, I know there are different ways to writing songs. I'm not I can get up in the morning, sit down with my book, my paper, my pen, and write a song on my computer. It's kind of has to come to me, but you have to help that along. It's not something that you just sit around and wait, okay. I don't know, nothing's come. You know, you got to pick up the guitar, you got to start doing something, and then maybe something comes or it doesn't.
Something inspires you.
And you never know. Sometimes something comes and you think it's too simple, it's not very good, and it winds up being a huge song for you. And then the other times, you know, you write some opus and you think it's the greatest thing that you've ever done, and people go like, yeah, I don't know, I don't get it.
But I was so into it. Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, it's a strange thing.
It's a strange thing. How did you connect with this band? How did you come about
it? I'm a New Yorker. I grew up in New York, and then in the late 70s I moved to San Francisco, and I spent 10 years out there. And while out there, I met everybody that I wound up playing with, all my idols growing up. I wound up playing with almost all of them. And you know, prior to being in the New Riders, I was playing with Jorma Kaukonen and Hot Tuna for about 20 years. Okay. And I've known Jorma. I started playing with him in the late 70s, early 80s, and then in '83 when Hot Tuna got back together, he asked me to join the band, and I joined up with him, and I toured the world with those guys. We went all over the world.
I probably saw you at Harper's Ferry and
various
places. Where in New York are you from?
Well, I grew up in Brooklyn. Looks like most people of my age. We grew up in Brooklyn, into Manhattan, out to Long Island, back to Brooklyn, out to Long Island.
No Queens stop.
No, we didn't make a Queens stop. My family didn't do the Queens thing.
Fabulous. Well, let me ask you about your wonderful CD, Mickael Falzareno, I Got Blues for You. Tell me about this release.
Well, this release here, I try and do a solo project once every 2 years on the years when we're not doing a project for, and the other guys too. Ronnie's got a new CD coming out. Johnny's always recording. And this one here, you know, I've always wanted, my roots are in the blues, you know, the British blues invasion and the sort of rock blues that came out of that. And I tried to make a CD, what I would call old school sounding CD.
I'm looking forward to it.
And, you know, it's a little hard in this day and age to do and keep that old kind of energy. But one of my things is to have all the musicians play the music at the same time, because these days, you know, you can make a whole album in your bedroom by yourself.
Right. Well, I'm looking on here. Professor Louie is on here.
Professor Louie's on here.
How wonderful, Miss Marie and Josh Kalu and Christian Kassan. I mean, you have some great musicians.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm looking forward to hearing this. Certainly, the night King Curtis died. That must be, you know.
I wrote that song a long time ago, and we went in the studio and we played it, and that's the version.
Who's playing sax?
There's no sax player on that, because I thought that would be somewhat hard to...
Disrespectful?
Yeah, a little bit. So, but Kane Daly plays guitar, and he plays some wicked blues stuff on there.
Well, this is very, very exciting, so we're going to be hearing this. Who are some of your greatest blues influences?
Well, you know, like everybody, the Three Kings, you know, Freddie,
Albert, B.B.
Albert, baby.
Yeah.
And then I really like a lot of the other sort of country blues fingerstyle guys. Gary Davis, obviously, from all the time I spent in Hot Tuna, and but mainly in if you're going to go that far back, and then for my age group. It was, I came in it through the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and that's how, I began to go backwards and find these other guys.
Have you been to Clarksdale? Have you done
I
that?
haven't been to Clarksdale. We've toured, like I said, we spend so much time on the road, and I've only been toured in Mississippi maybe, I'm going to say, maybe 2 or 3 times in the whole 40 years I've been on the road.
Tell me, or let me ask you, favorite New Riders albums? What's your favorite ones? Well, the ones you're on?
Of course, the ones I'm on are my favorites of this new era. Those 2 albums,
the new era.
Those are 2. I love those 2 records. I produced both records. And all the songs, many of the songs were written by David Nelson and Robert Hunter, the Grateful Dead lyricist. They've been old friends. David Nelson, Jerry Garcia, Robert Hunter, they all kind of grew up together as kids.
Sure.
They were playing in bands before there was a scene. There was no scene, and they were playing in bands. So I love these songs. But, for me, my favorite albums by old school New Riders, certainly the first album. Because that album, every song on that album is just etched in my brain. Because I must have listened to it, 60,000 times in 1 year. And then the Power Glide, the next album, I love that album.
Yep, Power Glide.
Adventures of Panama Red. The first 4 or 5 albums I really got.
Gypsy
Cowboy.
I like Gypsy Cowboy very
much. That's
a
great record. And then after that, I sort of got sidetracked into my musical thing, and then the rest of the things I didn't get to.
Exactly. When you're not on the road, or even when you are on the road, what do you listen to?
Well, I got
blues. You got blues.
I got a lot of blues stuff I listen to. Some contemporary stuff, not too much. And to be honest with you, because I'm on the road playing music all the time, it's music. Usually when I get home, I need some radio silence for a while.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What kind of instrument do you play?
In the New Riders, I have a hardtail Stratocaster that I've been playing probably for the whole 10 years. And a backup Telecaster. And when I was with Hot Tuna, I had a Country Gentleman and a Telecaster that I used. And various acoustic guitars for recording, and a couple of different acoustic guitars that we take out on the road.
Did I hear Papa John Creech with you?
No, Papa John, he was already out of the band by the late 80s. Hot Tuna broke up from 77 to 83. But he played in Hot Tuna for many years, but towards the end he wasn't there.
Correct.
And then he passed away.
I met him, and I met his wife.
Yeah, very nice people.
Wonderful people. So let me ask, what is the future for you and for the New Riders, because you're all very vibrant, and the band, I believe, is as relevant today as it was. I think you're in a perfect place to bridge generation gaps. Yeah.
Well, as far as where we're going, we're just hoping to continue doing what we've been doing for the last 11 years. We're going to put out, like I said, the double vinyl album. Then it'll be followed by another CD probably next year of new material, totally new material. Because we're constantly writing. David's constantly writing with Hunter, so he's got another dozen Hunter tunes. I've got dozens of songs that, some I've written specifically for this band, some I write for myself, and Johnny and Ronnie as well, So we're hoping that it continues to grow. The audience, like when we first started 10 years ago, it was basically old timers coming back to see the New Riders. Right. But now the audience is younger people, middle,
that's right,
50s, 40s, 30s, young kids, old people. So
it bridges the generation gaps. It's very, very exciting. Europe, do you do Europe?
We have not been to Europe with this. I've been to Europe to tour extensively with Hot Tuna and with Jorma and Jorma Kaukonen Trio, with Pete Sears on piano. But this band has not been to Europe. Right around this time this band started, it got more and more difficult and less lucrative to do it. It got very expensive to go to Europe, as it is still right now.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully at some point. Right. Tell me your connection to Woodstock Records. I like this.
Well, Woodstock Records, Professor Louie runs Woodstock Records, and we've been friends for, I don't know how many decades now. And when we were getting ready to record the new albums for this version of the New Riders, the music business has completely changed from way back when.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to retain ownership of all the masters, and with, you know, Professor Louie has a sort of a artist-friendly deal in which, you know, you hand in a product, and he puts it out there, but gets the distribution and all that. He takes a little piece, but we own it. We could walk away tomorrow and go sell it to somebody else if that was something we wanted to.
It's a good deal for everybody.
Yeah, everybody makes
really
that.
Do you go to Woodstock sometimes?
Oh, we spend a lot of time at
Yeah,
Woodstock. We play up there a lot, and we go up there a lot, and I work in the studio with him. And much of that album there, my album, I Got Blues For You, was recorded up there.
I'm really excited
The
about
album
all
before
this.
that, We Are All One, that was also recorded up there, you know. So.
Yeah, it's really, I'm sure he has a great place up there. It's a wonderful
Yeah.
place. And as I mentioned, Betsy Brown
Betsy Brown,
says a big shout out to you.
Betsy was very helpful promoting this record and getting it out there all over the world. She got me in the top 20, the top 10, all over the world in places I never even heard of.
We love Betsy Brown. And you know, Woodstock.
Yeah.
I have some relatives in Woodstock, Keith Slattery and Lindsay Webster. They're related to me through marriage, and
right.
and Bruce Katz, of course. So
Right.
you know, so Woodstock is a wonderful place.
Right.
So tell me about tonight's performance. What are we going to hear?
Well, tonight's performance, like every night, what we try to do is strike a balance. We're trying to stay true to the legacy and history of the band, but yet move forward. And that's a balancing act on any given night, because, you know, a lot of times you get there and people just want to hear old songs, and a lot of times they just want to hear new material.
No, you can't.
So we try and strike a balance, and that's what probably we'll wind up doing tonight. Tonight it will be a truncated performance. We're not going to. It's not a long show as we normally do.
Not 4 hours.
Yeah, we usually do 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
With a 20-minute break. You know, it'll be truncated. We'll probably do, you know, 7, 8, 9 songs, depending on which ones we do, because some of them are longer and or shorter. And some will be new, some will be old, some will be classics, some will be, you know, maybe 1 or 2 that haven't even been recorded yet.
Well, I'm excited. I'm hoping you do some from 17 Pine Street,
Yeah, we do.
too,
Right.
because, you know, a couple of those blues on there and some country. I'm very excited. And so we're going to go out. We're going to hear some great music. And
All right.
Mickael Falzarano.
All right, you got it.
I'm thrilled that you came in today.
Thanks for having
and
us.
we're going to go out and boogie
Right.
down out
All
there.
right.
So thank
Thanks
you
for
very
having us.
much. I'm Holly Harris here at Don Odells Legends. We're going to hear the New Riders of the Purple Sage and go have a great time.